Good morning and welcome to City of London Police Authority Board. As you are aware, the public element of today's meeting is being live streamed and those participating in the meeting have given consent to their inclusion. Chair.
Thank you, Town Clerk. Any apologies?
Thank you. Apologies have been received from Ben Murphy, Deborah Oliver, Alderman Tim Hales and Deputy Chairman Jason Groves is running late, so apologies for his late arrival.
Thank you very much. Members, we have a very busy agenda today, in particular in non-public, so I would like to focus on those elements of the agenda. But first, item 2, Town Clerk.
Item 2, members' declarations under the Code of Conduct in respect of items on the agenda, none of which I'm aware of in advance of the meeting.
Thank you. Town Clerk, item 3.
Thank you. Item 3 is to approve the public minutes and non-public summary of the Police Authority Board meeting on the 8th of October. No issues raised with me in advance.
Are there any points of accuracy? I see none. Any points of matters arising? I see none. They are approved. Town Clerk.
Thank you. Item 4, outstanding references. Joint report of the Town Clerk and Commissioner for information to be received.
To receive. Yeah, thank you, Town Clerk. And before I move to item 5, I would just like to welcome the Chief Commoner, who is also a former chair of this committee, who is joining us. He's exercising his right to join any committee he wishes. And we know he is a great supporter of this police authority board and the city police. Indeed, has a horse named after him, like others on this committee. The most beautiful horse in the city of London, I would say. Sorry. No, you don't have the floor. Okay, that takes us to item 5.
Yes, item 5 is the Chair's public update. There's a report for information on pages 17 to 20 of your pack. The Chair is also to be heard.
Yes, so I'll take my update as read, but I have a few points. And first of all, I would like to all members probably have noticed that a former City Police Commissioner, Owen Kelly, QPM, sadly died on the 4th of November, aged 93. And I just want to briefly pay our respects to his family and note his service with the police. He served as commissioner with distinction for nearly 10 years until 1944 and led the force through some challenging times, not least the 1993 Bishopsgate bombing. It was under Owen's commissionship that the Ring of Steel was introduced as a result, and he is credited with the introduction of London's first ANPR system. Owen was a significant public servant who gave much to policing and to the city, and I pay on behalf of the City of London Police and the City of London Police Authority tribute to that service. His thoughts are with his friends and family. With that, we go to updates on my public report. Just to congratulate the team for the report for it going live. And the Commissioner, no doubt, will address that briefly as well on the 4th of December. This marks a significant transformational moment in the UK's response to tackling fraud. Of course, I want to thank the Commissioner as SRO, but in particular also Chris Bell, who I believe might have a holiday now, a well-deserved holiday, as Programme Director, and of course Dawn Wright for chairing the procurement committee of that and negotiations so ably and with lots of commitment and time invested. But I think it is fair to say we need to acknowledge the wider team. It's been a real teamwork. We've worked really hard to get this over the line. And it's a great example of collaboration within the City of London Police, but also with government and private sector partners. So thanks to everyone involved, and we have an update on that later on this committee's agenda. Also, very briefly, and I know, Commissioner, on the non-public we will come back to it, but Lady Angelini published a report about the prevention of sexual motivated crimes against women in public. It was published as part 2 early December. It contains a number of recommendations aimed at government, but also several directed at chief constables and police and crime commissioners, and indeed police authority as well. So this is really important for us to get right. And I've asked that the local policing committee will look at the city police's position on the recommendations in the new year, but I know that we will discuss it a little bit later as well. Are there any questions on or observations on my public update? I see none. Oh, sorry. Oh, Helen, yes.
Sorry, Chair. PCC reform. I noted the words that you used to consider whether any further improvements, etc. I just wondered if that's a code for something, and if you can say any more.
Well, you can see that that the report is not written by myself, so it's usually written in a diplomatic style. And I think that we will probably in non-public come back to this very item.
Okay, thank you.
Indeed. One would only need to open the newspapers today to show that we will have to have that discussion later. But yes, well spotted. Yes, Lisa.
Chair, in the similar vein, are you able to share the reactions of the Home Office and the MOJ to the suggestions about the use of the new courts complex that you put to them in the meetings?
Yes, and when we get to item, I believe it's 26 on our agenda, I will definitely set that context. Thank you. And I see Deputy Chair of Policy and Resources.
Chair, and you might
No is the answer.
well, I was hoping you might reference the launch of the anti-corruption strategy this week, which
Yes.
you were present at, but I think it is notable because of the high level of government support, including having 4 ministers there. But you may wish to say a bit more.
Yeah, you are absolutely right, and that was also a collaborative joint effort across the corporation and indeed with the Home Office and the Treasury. The Lady Mayor hosted the launch of the UK's response to anti-fraud strategy, and the City Police, I think, in your update, Commissioner, might say a little bit more on non-public about that engagement. But it was a massive success, and thanks to the team, and thanks in particular to Ollie and Preet from our side for really hard work. And we had several ministers, including the Deputy Prime Minister. I had a personal briefing by the City Police together with the Security Minister on the work that we're doing. So this is a fantastic engagement for a really important piece of work that was welcomed by the whole in both the financial services sector and indeed NGOs. And so thank you for that reminder. And of course, our policy chair was making sure that everything runs smoothly during the whole day.
He absolutely was, right? And I think made some very positive comments about economic security, which I think is clearly something that we need to be leaning into more as the corporation. And I think the other big takeaway for me was the number of times that I think almost every minister commented on the positively of the work of the City of London Police. I thought that was definitely worth a shout out. And again, I think securing the 15 million for the anti-corruption unit is, I think, a huge credit to the work that the City Police does nationally. Thank you, Chair.
100% agree. Thank you for that. That then takes us to item 6, Town Clerk.
Yes, at item 6, we have the Commissioner's update. A report on pages 21 to 26 of your pack.
Commissioner, is there anything you would like to add? Take it as read.
Thank you, Chair. So, as always, we take the report as read. Just a few call-outs, if I may. So it's been a period of firsts. So thanks to Uma as Gold for the Lady Mayor's show, to reassure members, 16 officers and bicycles. Just wanted to make that point. Also, we saw the implementation of Right Care, Right Person, and indeed the first ever City Safe Bus to help improve our response to violence against women and girls and nighttime economy. Under our Safer City Streets work, which is around better preventing crime in the square mile, Operation Zena, which is our hotspot policing strategy, has achieved a 23% reduction in serious violence. And indeed, on the hot topic of phone snatching, if we look at performance this October compared to last year, 54% reduction in phone snatching across the square mile. And lastly, for me, we are indeed going to be discussing report fraud later on, but a personal shout out to Becca, who is here with her wonderful team, Tony and Siobhan. Becca has been involved since day one of report fraud, and a lot of the delivery and success is down to her. So well done to Becca. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much. And in particular, I think I saw you on a bike at the Lady Mayor show. Is that correct, Commissioner?
You are indeed correct, Chair. Having completed successfully, I may add, the 2-day City Police bicycle course going up and downstairs, you did in fact see me on a bicycle. Thank you.
Yes, and I am acutely aware that I haven't gone up and down some stairs yet, and my predecessor has. So I will do that when the weather is a little bit nicer. But in particular, also great to see that the proactive approach around phone snatching is paying off, and that is a massive success. So thank you for that, Commissioner. Any questions, observations? I see James.
So I was very pleased to see this week actually the work by the Metropolitan Police in terms of tackling bikes, e-bikes linked to phone snatches. I've always felt that it's been really hard for us to do work if the rest of London isn't addressing that. The reason I raise it is it has come up in a number of different forums around the perception of London and safety and security, linked to things like phone thefts. My question really is, now that the Met is following the city's lead on this and being really proactive on it, is there any sort of engagement communication strategy around the work that policing across London is doing to tackle this? Because I think that's quite important in terms of public messaging and safety for London.
Before I hand over to the commander, just to say you're absolutely spot on as ever on this topic. I had the chair of planning and transportation contact me saying that in his overseas promotion of investment in the city, the perception of crime, high levels of crime in London as a whole, was raised every single time. And in fact, the director and I met with the CEO of the new Office for Investment, which City of London Corporation, together with His Majesty's government, is supporting just this week. And he also indicated that this is an important topic, and we've agreed that if there are specific cases where potential investors would like to speak to either the City of Corporation or the City Police, we will make those introductions, but also kind of this fact sheet, because the reality is, and it's good to see that the Metropolitan Police is following the excellent work that the city is doing around phone snatching, for example, or illegal e-bikes. But the reality is that on very many measures, actually, London as a whole is in a far better place than some politicians abroad are trying to make us believe. So that joined up approach and that promoting is something that I will raise with the Mayor of London as well. And I assume you in your capacity as Deputy Chair of Policy and Resources might be able to help in that. I think we jointly need to make that case much stronger. Because it is a consideration for investment. Of course, us as a national lead force role, the City Police lead force role, again, there's a real interest in what you're doing on cybercrime, for example, and it's a real plus for us to be able to say that we have a dedicated police force in the financial heart, fighting cybercrime, helping businesses, large and small, on this. So I think that investment pitch is really important. And we need to make sure that government understands that as well. But Commander.
Thank you, and a role for the corporation to help on that as well.
Yes,
So,
yeah,
thank you.
Obviously.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you for the question. I'll keep it brief because you covered a lot of the key points around the collaboration. Where we have strengthened our relationship is at the strategic level, but we have a London Region Serious Organised Crime group, SOCTA, ROCTA, all these, where we are moving towards a ROCU approach, which is where the HMIC inspection has led us towards. But more importantly, on a local level, we've now begun to coordinate our tactical taskings and local activities together, all the way down to granular level. When we do make arrests, that we speak to each other. For example, on Monday, I'll be attending the Met's Strategic Tasking Coordination Group meeting, which is something that hasn't happened before. And I also attend the tactical level meetings that we have around on our monthly trends and organised crime groups. And what we are trying to pitch forward is the volume issues that we face in the city around thefts and mobile phone thefts, so that where we are trying to make sure that we get the right level of support and coverage on those areas. But thank you.
Thank you. Helen.
Thank you. Slightly different point. Commissioner, right care, right person. You make reference to mental health, people with mental health problems. And I just wondered if you knew where we are with the mental health street triage team. I do recall some conversations about ongoing funding for that, maybe a couple of years ago now. And frankly, I've kind of lost sight of that a bit, but it's always felt to me to be a really important part, a support service to police to support people on the street and get them to the right place for right care.
Commander.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you for the question. And I do recall that conversation we had at the committee, and we were at that time looking at data and incident demands and the coverage of the triage team. That's still very much in place. We have a working group in the city led by one of our superintendents, which I used to chair that group myself. So we give focus and attention, and what we will do is from the next meeting, we'll look at the data, and if there's a further update that needs to be brought to the Children's and the Communities Committee, then we will do so. But I believe that the scheme is working well and is providing us with the right level of support to ensure people in crisis are directed to the right services through the triage process.
Helen?
I mean, that's pleased to hear that it's still supportive and helpful. I guess the thing that always worries me is that we get a last minute pitch because money's running out. And if we can be a bit more proactive in our approach to that and thinking to try and make sure that we protect what is working really well. Thanks.
Yeah, okay, thank you for that. Yes, that was the Commissioner's report. Town Clerk.
Thank you. That brings us on to item number 7, policing plan performance update Q2. Report to the Commissioner for information on pages 27 to 64 of your pack.
Yes, and this is, as members will recall, kind of a new way of feeding back from the different committees. And I think it is very helpful for all members, even if you're not on one committee, to see a overview of the key points that are discussed at those committees. I'm not suggesting we go into anything in detail because the details discussion have taken place in those committees. Unless there are any questions, or if any chairs in particular also of committees would like to make some highlights, let me know. But Helen.
Yes, thank you. And I mean, it's great to see all of this performance data because I know we've been asking for it over a period of time, and meeting by meeting, the level of detail has increased. But I do have a couple of points. The first thing is whether I'm not confident that we've got the read across from the performance information here into productivity and use of resources. And it feels to me that we need a very clear read across through the various strands of performance related activities. And I'm not sure we've got that yet. It also seemed that there's a bit of a time lag. In some areas we're looking at Q1 and in others we're looking at Q2 when we're nearly at the end of Q3. I'm sure we must have Q2 data in nearly every area by now, and if not, it'd be helpful to understand why not. So I think that would be useful. And the integrity professional of trust, page 64, was there nothing to report? If I've looked at this correctly, was it? Maybe I was feeling too tired to read it properly, but I've in my notes I've got query nothing to report, so I need to look back at page 64 just to refresh my memory, perhaps. And the other thing is the final point is that because we have such a level of detail, it actually would be quite helpful to have a cover or summary report that draws our attention to significant changes, because it's very easy in looking at this to kind of lose the plot a bit about, and I'm on the verge of saying it's almost too much detail, but having kept asking for it, I feel churlish to say that, but there is so much. It would be helpful to have some pointers or indicators to take us to the most important changes. Thanks.
Thank you. I think Jason.
Thank you, Chair. Helen reads the mind of the committee very well on many of these things. Thank you for your comments about improving the quality of the pack. Local policing committees work very hard to do that, and I think the quality of information we're getting is now much better, and we're able to I think we're able to see much more clearly the performance. I take your point about the read across. I think that will be interesting in sort of perhaps working with the Resources and Estates Committee more effectively. In terms of the quarter by quarter, I share your frustrations with that, and what we're trying to do is perhaps plan committee meetings next year so that we're able to have the most up-to-date information. I agree. Looking at information that's 2 quarters out of date doesn't feel particularly helpful, and that's a frustration that's been shared. So we're looking at changing the rhythm of committee meetings to enable more up to date, and then coming on to PAB after that. In terms of the summary, I know it's something that we've also discussed at local policing. We want that sort of run to the problem, see where the issues are. So I'm glad they've been raised. They've been raised in local policing as well.
And yes, and I mean, it's probably fair to say this is still work in progress, but it's moving in the right direction. I will come to James and then I'll come to you, Commissioner, if I may. So there's some key points there that's what the team can pick up. And there were some metrics that were not in there, like public confidence and things like that. So there's a couple of those points.
Yeah, there's also, we discussed, although hate crime isn't part of the policing plan, we thought that was a particularly important metric. So to get some kind of report on hate crime as well. So as you say, this is still a work in progress, but I think we've made tremendous strides.
And Helen, on your point about professionalism and trust, you're right. So that's just because the meeting was only recently happened, so there was not enough time for it to be included. A key point there, and then Michael, feel free to add, but we discussed there is not yet actually a performance framework on EDI, which we're working hard to get in place as well. So Michael, I don't know if you want to add.
Yes, that's correct. That's correct, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. James.
Thank you. So yeah, I was very pleased to see this report and how it's developing, because I think this is really positive in terms of tracking the performance of the police and the policing plan. The one thing may recall I've raised quite a few times, probably for getting on for 18 months, is how we communicate this to our communities. And I thought, as we came into the beginning of this year, I recall the Deputy Commissioner telling me that we were all set to be reporting quarterly against key metrics externally, and I hadn't seen anything go out to the communities or on social media. I may have missed it. I'm not often on social media, so it's quite possible.
That is not true.
It's quite possible. I've overlooked it, Chair. Thank you.
I think that's a fair point. Also, actually, that links into and the timing could be working quite well. I'm intending to send a quarterly update to members, so we might join forces, literally. You know, some of that, because that is for public consumption, so we might as well do something that you can use twice. But that's just an idea. Director, and first Commissioner and then the Director.
Okay, thank you, Chair. A few things. So, Alex, I'll come to you in a moment to just give a comment on the quarter issue that Jason covered, page 64 P&T, level of information, and then just a point from James around communities. From me, Helen, around the intrinsic link between understand demand and resource delivery. So our force management statement, which is an annual document, looks at demand across the organisation so that we put our people in the right place at the right time. But then through the year, through understanding the performance pack in front of you, helps us to determine how we make different decisions about resourcing. So we have organisation improvement board, we have force tasking. I wouldn't be looking to get into a discussion here or any committee about where we put resources, because we have to do that dynamically. But just to reassure you that, you know, there is an absolute link between performance, understanding demand, and resource placement and provision. On the ED&I bit, it's not quite true. We do actually have a performance framework. The reason why no one has seen it yet is because we don't have a data dashboard to populate measures. There is a data dashboard being developed as we speak. It will be ready for early January, and it will be coming to my next force ED&I board before it comes to committee. James, lastly, on community briefings, so when I see the cluster panels, mixed views on cluster panels and their effectiveness, we give a performance pre-say. In terms of that regular heartbeat rhythm, I don't know, but Alex may have a view on that. So if I just quickly come to Alex, and then obviously Richard will come in after that. Alex?
Yeah, and I think Jason summed up the point around making sure the committee meetings align with our ability to pull together the data and do the analysis. So that is key. This report is against the measures that we agreed as part of the policing plan. There are other things that we report to the individual committees as well. So things like more detailed information around EDI, the productivity reports, other types of things. So that's not the extent of the sort of scrutiny of our performance against the plan. It is the summary against the key performance measures that we have agreed. And I think in terms of the publication, so there is something on the Police Authority website, and I don't know whether that was what Richard was going to pick up on his point as well.
Yeah, Jane.
Come back on that. So look, great it's on the website, great it's going to the cluster panels, but I might have been on the misapprehension that, you know, we were going to report quarterly some really simple, you know, stuff that goes out on social media, infographics, get it out to the people that really matter. People are not going to go through the sort of detail on the website here. I just think we should be shouting about this stuff at every opportunity and just making sure we've got a program to back that up. So maybe we could just have a look at that and how we do get out. The force is doing some really good stuff on social media, but I just think this is a missed opportunity not to be telling people how we're performing. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Director?
Alex covered it. It's but we take James's point. Maybe we'll have another look at it with.
Yeah, and it's not the whole pack. It is a condensed version of some key measures that we think the public will be most interested in. But we can look at the channels that we're using.
Perfect. Thank you. Sorry, Deputy Chair.
And very helpfully, there's a Communications and Corporate Affairs Committee this afternoon. So I might raise, you know, whether we can do some kind of more public report with the corporation on that.
Look, I think it's critical when it comes to trust and confidence of people knowing about the City of London Police and the work we do. We should be just using these sorts of opportunities as much as we can to be shouting about it. So
I actually suggested to the ward newsletter team that will be annual that they might want to have something from the commissioner, for example. And also they can do, because they're doing different ward clusters, you can have the contact details of your ward cluster in that. So I mean, different ways of getting the messages. So anyway, I think that's it. I would like to move on, if we can, to item 8, Town Clerk.
Thank you. Item number 8 is quarterly HMI CFRS activities update, Q2, July to September 2025. Information report on pages 65 to 74 of your pack.
Yes, and I'm meeting the inspector again in the new year, early in the new year. But Alex, very briefly to highlight the readiness. I'm not proposing to go into detail if members allow me that because of their agenda. But Alex.
Just to confirm that work progresses on preparing for the next peer inspection, there's 2 key areas of focus. So one is responding to the areas for improvement and delivering those, and there is an update in the annex on that. And the other thing that we are doing is we have a rolling programme against all of the pillars of the peel inspection, where we're benchmarking ourselves against the good framework and identifying other areas for improvement.
Are there any questions or observations, Deputy Chair?
Just to say that the local policing committee is looking very, very closely at this, and we continue to have deep dive discussions at all of our meetings on this.
Fantastic, thank you so much. And indeed, my weekly catch-ups with the Commission, we have these discussions as well. So that was item 8, Town Clerk.
Yes, item number 9 is a quarterly subcommittee summary report for information on pages 75 to 84 of your pack.
And this is, next time we'll take it together with the other report we just had, a similar part of our new system. Unless the chairs have anything to add or highlight, or if there are any questions, I take it as read. This is just for information. Town Clerk, item 10.
Thank you. 10. Item 10 is questions on matters relating to the work of the board. None of which I've been made aware of in advance, but
I have been made
you think there's one.
Madhush?
Yep, thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Obviously, we've had some conversations around this, but I think it's just a highlight for the broader members of the committee. Planning and Transport, Alison Gammon highlighted through research that a number of speed cameras in the city are not running at the moment because of defunding by Transport for London. I understand, therefore, that there are conversations ongoing, and especially driven between the Met and TfL that will then guide what we do. But I think it's important to note, I have personally noticed, I cycle in the city with my 12-year-old son, that there are a lot more speeding cars at various junctions in the square mile. It is much more unsafe to cycle in the square mile. It's as unsafe as a pedestrian more than ever. So, you know, certainly some drivers have become wise to the fact that cameras have not been operating since April this year. It is a significant risk. We have a duty to our pedestrians and streets and walkways safety. So it's just want to mention, appreciate its work in progress. Any comments that might be made, absolutely welcome. Thank you, Chair.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And Commander, just mindful that we're in public, so just be mindful of that.
Thank you. We absolutely take the concerns very seriously, and road safety here in the city is of utmost importance to ourselves. And I don't mean to say this in a simple way, but we've seen the investment that City Police, together with corporation, the Vision Zero aspirations that we have made. I just wanted to say that in the background, we have got a range of conversations ongoing with TfL, Met Police, which are of a sensitive nature, which will still progressing, and we will give update to those in due time. But I also wanted to add that actually that we will bring some data on this issue, which may suggest a slightly different point to the perception, because it also needs to be noted that the TfL only have or had 2 cameras, which were one close to Tower Bridge and the other one in that vicinity again. So if there is a perception around the city that this is an issue, then perhaps it's not correlated to that particular area. But what I will do is I will take this back with myself, speak to our traffic colleagues to see where we can continue to enhance our focus through the traffic, through the cycle work, in particular hotspot areas that the respected elected member has mentioned, and see we can add further reassurance moving forward to our communities in this space.
Thank you. And perhaps that could be kind of sent to the local policing committee actually for an update when it's but rest assured that we are on a case, and this discussions are going forward. And also thanks to Alice and Gowman for raising this indeed at Streets and Walkspace. Town Clerk, that takes us to item 11.
Yes, item 11. Any other business that the chair considers urgent? None of which I've been made aware of in advance.
None. Item 12.
Thank you. Brings us to item 12, which is exclusion of the public. That is to be agreed.
That's agreed.
So
And thank you for all of those watching online. We will pause until we know if we're.
Thank you. I'll ask the live stream to end, and I'll confirm once we're into non-public session.